The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship season is at Brazelton, Georgia and Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for the running of the 23rd Petit Le Mans. Before that 10-hour event, it's time for racing with the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. It's a rare triple-header weekend for the Porsche drivers and teams. It's the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA presented by Yokohama Round 12 from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindhaugh. Jeremy Shaw will be with me to call the action today. Let's take a quick look at the weather. It's a brisk 51 degrees this morning. Clear skies, 7 miles an hour breeze coming from a southwesterly direction. Good news, zero chance of rain. First and second in the points from the start of the season and the platinum class of the field all year, if we're being honest. The 16 of Jeff Kingsley and his team of Kelly Moss Road and Race, and Riley Dickinson in the number 53 car from Mo Speed. Both drivers have already swapped victories on Friday. Expect nothing to change here in the third race of the weekend. And in the gold class category, the battle up front has also been a two-man race all year. The number 17 of Kurt Swearingen, and from TPC Racing, the number 65, Efren Castro.
So this is the third of three this weekend. Here's what happened earlier. Two races on Friday, and Riley Dickinson got a great jump on the start through turn 12 in the first race very early on Friday morning. Jeff Kingsley picking his way through after a not great qualifying session. Already by the end of lap one, he was up in the third position, and it didn't take him long either to go into P2. That was lap 3 as he went past Sebastian Carrazzo and set off after the leader Dickinson. In the Gold Cup category, Efren Castro and Kurt Swearingen, they're battling for the championship. Swearingen with the advantage in the championship, but Castro with the advantage in the first race. Then a little mistake for the 24 Kurt Hunt car. Looked like he went off on some of his own fluids actually, and that car had to be pulled out of the gravel. On the restart, Joe Still had a huge incident on the start-finish line, destroying the left-hand side of his normally pristine Porsche. Full course yellow, but we did get cleaned up and restarted. Riley Dickinson won for platinum, and Efren Castro held on in the GT Gold Cup category. In race 2, another great start for Riley Dickinson from pole position, a little bit further back this time, but he had to defend at turn 1, and by the time we got to turn 3, well, Jeff Kingsley had gone through on the first lap. Efren Castro spun while racing the number 17 of Kurt Swearingen for the lead, and that dropped him down to 4th position. Ultimately, he would fight back. David Brulé Sr. sliding coming out of turn 7, but somehow managing to hold onto it and not hitting the wall. So at the flag, Jeff Kingsley took the win in the platinum class and restored his lead. Kurt Swearingen, the GT3 Gold class winner, also restoring his championship advantage. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me here in the booth as we're getting ready to go. And this time, Kingsley has the pole position, so he controls the field coming up to the flag. 45 minutes on the clock. It's Kingsley and Dickinson on the front row. Behind them, it's Carrazzo and McAllister for Kelly Moss and JDX. Then Metney and Murillo, TJ Fisher and Charlie Look. And it's right at the apex of the final corner. Brilliant stuff. Once again, Carrazzo is quick down the inside, but Dickinson moves across to try and cut him up, but I think Carrazzo's going to slot through into 3rd position. Behind them, it looked like Alan Metney was holding the inside line there, but Kenny Murillo was starting fast as well as TJ Fisher. The 56 car of Murillo pressuring the all-white number 99 car. Honours even so far, Jeremy, with the two winners from the 2 Friday races in both of the categories. So if we were going to have a round winner, as it were, this is the best of 3, so this is effectively the decider.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that was another aggressive start there from Jeff Kingsley, the young Canadian driver. Yesterday, it was good enough to take him from second on the grid into the lead. This time he was already in the lead because he was on the pole position. Brilliant start there, already put 4 or 5 Porsche car lengths between himself and his championship rival Riley Dickinson, and so really good field of cars and all strung out already as they head down the back straight.
Seems a bit odd for us not to be having to look, Jeremy, when we're at Road Atlanta for Matul Petit-Le-Mans at the championship standings and working out if we can find out who is in the best position for the championship. But after this race, we still have another 4 races, of course, with this strange 2020. So still positions to be fought over, although at the front of the field, the 16 car has a fantastic gap between himself, Jeff Kingsley, and Riley Dickinson in this race, and he's restored the championship points lead that he had as he came in here with 1 race apiece for those 2 young chargers. On the streets of St. Pete next weekend, no time to take a breath, and who will have the momentum, who will have the confidence? Carrazzo in 3rd position going through turn 5. Then it was Sean McAllister from JDX Racing. Alan Metley strangely off the pace this weekend, just hasn't really been up to his usual pace at all in that 99 iFly car. In fact, hasn't even taken the Masters win in the 2 races we've had so far. Charlie Look has done that in the first 2 races, although he's a little further back in 8th position at the moment. Perfect conditions, dry racetrack, sunshine, a decent crowd, but not the crowd we would expect. But as usual, the flat 6 Porsches sounding great and looking fabulous here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, social distancing, keeping the crowd to abnormal limits here, but still lots of exciting races as we've seen this weekend so far. Efren Castro leading in the Gold Cup category again. As John was saying a little while ago, we've already had he and Kurt Swearingen, the 2 championship rivals, sharing the wins so far this weekend. But in the early stages now, Efren Castro got a huge lead in that Gold Cup class. He's got already 3 Platinum class cars between himself and Kurt Swearingen in 2nd place. It's perfect conditions right now, except for the fact it's pretty chilly out there. It's in the 40s degrees Fahrenheit, which is very difficult to get the tyres switched on in these cars. But the driver's doing a good job at the moment. It's been a nice clean start, and Jeff Kingsley is out in front, but Riley Dickinson this time isn't letting him disappear into the distance.
And those Gen 1 cars won't be a part of the new series next year, but the Gen 2 cars can be, although there will be a brand new body shape, what Porsche call Type 992. That's where we're up to in the street cars now. And the top class, the Pro class, as well as the Pro-Am class will feature 992s, but the Pro-Am can also have the current Platinum cars in there as well. Bit of a revamp and overhaul of the championship. Completely new championship next year under the auspices of Porsche globally and Porsche North America. It will be the Porsche Carrera Cup North America next year rather than a Cup Challenge, and that in the Porsche hierarchy is a step up. Also a new junior category for younger drivers. They'll be automatically enrolled into that. There'll be some classroom sessions as well for those younger drivers, as well as the track type. And one of those young drivers, effectively in North America, a Porsche Carrera Cup North America Young Driver Academy, and one of those young drivers will go to the global shootout, from which Porsche picks young drivers to support through their careers. And my goodness, there's been some talent come out of that down through the years. So very exciting times for what will be in 2021 a 16 race championship, administered still by IMSA for the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. But we've still got this year's Porsche Carrera Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama to decide, with this and 4 more races to go. 38 minutes to go at Road Atlanta. Beautiful conditions this morning. Kingsley leads by 0.6 of a second. So, Jeremy, good start by Jeff Kingsley, doing exactly what he needs to do, and you could say exactly the same of Efren Castro, who's done a very good job in the Gold Cup. He leads and has a couple of cars between himself and Kurt Swearingen.
Yeah, a very good start by Efren Castro, both of these guys. Jeff Kingsley, I think we say he made an aggressive start. He did. He pulled out a little bit over Riley Kingsley in that first lap, but since then, I think Dickinson had closed that gap a little bit. Jeff Kingsley, however, has just responded. He set a new fastest lap of the race. In the Gold Cup category, where is Efren Castro still leads pretty handily. Kurt Swearingen a little bit farther back down the road. He was caught up behind some of the Platinum class cars. He's got past one of them, but he's still got a deficit of about 5 seconds if he wants to catch this man, Efren Castro, in that gold and black car out in the front of the race. But Kurt Swearingen has just set the fastest lap in the Gold Cup cars in the early stages of this race.
1:25.260 is the Yokohama fastest lap for Kurt Swearingen in that ACI number 17, the green, black and white machine, and now right up behind David Bruley Senior for Kalimos Road and Race. And the problem is, of course, 200cc and a few more horsepower in that car ahead means that as hard as Kurt Swearingen is trying, and trust me, he's trying very hard indeed to get past that mini white Porsche ahead of him as they go down the back straight towards turn 10A, he's got to try and do it under braking or in and through the corners, because the top speed of that car and the way it punches out of the corners of that car ahead of him is making it rather difficult, Jeremy Shaw, for him to put the move on that number 48.
Yeah, it's not easy for him. He's already got past one of the Platinum cars. That was Frank Razzo a couple of laps ago. He's closed quickly on David Brule Senior, but now he's got to try to find a way past him, and that's, as you say, not easy at all. But he's certainly going to try to do that, because he doesn't necessarily have to beat Efren Castro. Coming into this weekend, Kurt Swearingen had a pretty handy 13-point advantage over Efren Castro for the championship. That was with the 4 more races to go after this weekend, plus the one today. As you said earlier, honours even this weekend, and if Efren Castro is going to win this championship, he needs to beat Kurt Swearingen in every single race, and if he can do that, he might just squeak it out. So Kurt Swearingen certainly won't want to give anything away, and he will try to close that gap to Castro and maybe put some pressure on him and cause him to make a mistake like he did yesterday.
Just on the outskirts of the top 10, Michael Manella in the number 4 car has just lost a position to Kurt Hunt of the ACI Motorsports car. That's 9th and 10th, and the white car has just dropped to 10th. The multicoloured and purple car has just gone through into 9th as they head through turn 1. Now, I'm not sure that gap isn't coming down a little bit at the front of the field. Riley Dickinson matched last time around the leader Jeff Kingsley and looks to be a little closer. Not exactly in striking distance at the moment. Carrazzo about 5 seconds, maybe more now, further back as they head to the far end of the circuit through turns 6 and 7. But going onto the back straight, that certainly only looks like about half a second as they head already through the little kink at turn 8 and turn 9. Still the battle going on at turn 5 between Swearingen in the 17 ACI Motorsports car and David Bruley Senior for Kalimos Road and Race. David is in 12th position in the Platinum class at the moment, so he's not fighting the car behind in terms of his own positions, but there's a certain amount of pride, of course, when you're behind the wheel of a race car, and a lovely mix of career-minded racing drivers. Some of the younger drivers will be looking to catch the eye of the team managers and potentially some of the team owners in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championships, which are pitted to their right as they go across the stripe at the start-finish line. And mixed in with that, some drivers who have made their way in life, found themselves with a little time and perhaps the wherewithal to go motor racing and enjoy it just for the pure excitement, enjoyment and emotion of it. And that will continue, by the way, next year with a class system that recognises both the career-minded and the race drivers who are enjoying their Porsche motor racing.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
Still the battle continues between Metney and the iFly car, and Shell decals back on the side of the number 11 car, which I didn't notice yesterday, but they clearly must have been there. But good to see that very distinctive colour, wear and sponsorship livery on that car. The other thing that was very cool about David Baker, Jeremy, and kudos to the organisers here, David started the race, was given the number 100 as the race number, then he parked the car. That was always going to be the plan, but then he was allowed to wave the checkered flag on the end of the race that he had made his 100th start. I thought that was very classy indeed by everyone concerned. Little mistake by the 99, by the way, coming out of turn A, but I think Alan Metney's going to hold on to that. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was super cool. I mean, Dave Baker's just a wonderful guy, and it was nice to see him recognised in that way. What a fabulous battle is going on here. Alan Metney yesterday retired in the second race. The Masters category was won both days by Charlie Luck. In the first race yesterday, Charlie Luck and Alan Metney had a great battle, which Charlie Luck won for the first time this season. He'd beaten him heads up in a straight fight. Second race, however, Alan Metney had a rock go through one of the radiators on his Porsche, so he was forced to retire from the race, but he's back strongly this morning. And Sebastian Carrazzo, who's ahead of this too, will be really grateful for the fact that Alan Metney is clearly struggling a little bit to hold off the youngster Sean McAllister, this battle for 4th and 5th position. So Alan Metney looking to get himself back toward the front of the field again. He's already pretty much wrapped up the Masters Championship, a 36-point lead coming into this race, with only this race and 4 more others to go in this season. So he's pretty much wrapped up a 3rd consecutive Masters Championship.
It's Jeremy Shaw, I'm John Hindhaugh. There's half an hour of this race, 30 minutes just under, still to go at Road Atlanta. So let's catch up with the Yokohama fastest laps of the race so far. Still in the gold category, Kurt Swearingen trying to chase down Efren Castro. The SCI Motorsports number 17, 125.260 in the gold category. In platinum, just not last time, but the time before around, a 123.0 is the new mark set by Jeff Kingsley, the leader of the race in that number 16 Kelly Moss Road and Race. Those are the two Yokohama fastest lap, but with 29 minutes still to go, with racing fuel being burned off at every single turn and every single lap. The cars get lighter and they potentially can't get faster. All depends on how they've been set up, of course, and how well the drivers cope with the changing condition of the car. The tyres, Yokohama build great tyres, but if you abuse them, they will not be your friend. It's very important to remember that these are quite heavy GT cars, particularly when they've got 55 minutes or thereabouts of fuel in it by the time you've done a couple of formation laps, a cool down lap, and then 45 minutes of racing. Cool weather as well here at Brazelton and Road Atlanta. That will mean the cars slide around a bit, and that takes its toll on the Yokohama tyres as well. Alan Metney doing a pretty good job, Jeremy, and not falling into the trap so far, at least, of being so worried about Sean McAllister in that mostly red with white and yellow number 11 behind, not falling into the trap of worrying about him and therefore driving in his mirrors. He's driving his own race, and that would be exactly the advice that the pit wall, his crew chief, or indeed anyone who was mentoring would tell him to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, he's been a fantastic student over the last 3 years. That's all he's been racing, is for Alan Metney. He's really, I mean, he's fast nowadays. He's won a race overall in this championship, which is no mean feat. He's fast. And earlier this season, even in his third season of racing, we saw him driving rather too defensively, at least I thought. But as you say rightly now, he's focusing forward. He's not taking super defensive lines, and he's now I think, actually along his last lap, I think he closed in just a little bit on Sebastian Carrazzo, who is ahead of him. He's pulled away just a tiny bit now from Sean McAllister, and that's exactly what he needs to do. These conditions this morning, it's absolutely picture perfect out there, and we've seen some fast lap times. Jeff Kingsley has set the fastest lap of the race out in front of this field at 1:23.039. If you can find another 5 thousandths of a second, or actually 6 thousandths of a second, then he will beat the lap record that was set here last year by his rival in this race, Riley Dickinson.
Very impressive concentration from the two drivers, battling over 4th and 5th position. They've been together lap after lap after lap. But McAllister has not found a way to put any real pressure other than sitting, a couple of car lengths back, Jeremy. We've not seen a concerted dive down the inside. He hasn't stuck his nose in. And now for the first time at turn 6, from the middle of the road, the 99 iFly car, and Alan Metney in 6 and 7 takes a more defensive line. That's going to ruin his exit from turn 7. He might have handed the advantage to McAllister, who gets a lovely run out of turn 7.
Yeah, a bit funny, isn't it? A lap ago, completely different. He seemed to be focusing forward and pulling away a little bit from Sean McAllister, but all of a sudden now he is having to adopt a defensive line as he heads down into this tight turn 10A chicane. And Sean McAllister, I think he's definitely faster in that JDX shell code delivery. Last year's Hurley Hayward Scholarship winner this year's is Riley Dickinson, running just ahead of him in 2nd place. But Sean McAllister's got to try and figure out how he can find a way past Alan Metney.
Not an easy thing to do at all. Alan takes the racing line into turn 1, but rather pinches the corner on the exit, doesn't let it run all the way to the left-hand side of the track. That might have cost him a mile an hour or two going up the hill towards turn 2. At the front of the field, by the way, the gap between Jeff Kingsley and Riley Dickinson, that championship battle, is now out to over a second and a half. Efren Castro for TPC Racing still leads in the Gold Cup. He's 11th overall and is round about 3 seconds ahead, just a little under that, ahead of Kurt Swearing. And the problem for Kurt is that he has got traffic between his car and the man who is leading the gold category at the moment.
This is another battle for the 7th position. Charlie Luck and TJ Fisher, one of those top racing youngsters, and Charlie Luck has won the Masters class in each of the first 2 races this year. First time he's done that this season, so that was a big weight off his mind. He was super happy yesterday evening. But today, Alan Metney is some way down the road.
And Metney spun. Metney spun coming out of turn 5. He's gone too far over the curb on the exit, I think, and faces now the right direction and gets going again. Now, did he get a little bit of a a helping hand. No, he just got a big wiggle coming over the top of the brow. Looked to me as though he may have tried to pinch the exit a little bit, and he needs to put the lottery on, because you spin there and you don't hit anything, you have been very fortunate indeed. He would have done his Yokohama tyres very much good as he locked it all up and spun down the track at least a full 360, maybe a little more. That will have woken him up, and that's dropped him a couple of places, and he'll be very annoyed with himself for that. McAllister's gone through, Kenny Murillo's gone through. He goes back past, that was Joe Lombardo, I think, that he just went by again, was it? Who's coming into the pit lane in the number 24 car. Sorry, that's Kurt Hunt, isn't it? The ACI Motorsports car that had the radiator damage earlier on in the weekend. My apologies. So that car had a problem. My goodness, what a close shift that was in that battle. So now in behind a whole gaggle of cars, including Frank Raso for Top Racing. He's the next car that I can see ahead of Alan Metney as the leaders charge down to turn 10. Kingsley by 2 seconds now, Jeremy, and this is another one of those drives from Metney. But meantime, things have hotted up in the Gold Cup through turn 5, and Kurt Swearingen has dispensed with the cars between himself and Efren Castro. Joe Lombardo is in front of Castro. There's only 3/10 between them, but only 3/4 of a second further back, Kurt Swearingen. And this is going to get tasty very quickly indeed, because Castro is bottled up behind that platinum car.
Yeah, indeed so. And Joe Lombardo, as you say, has got back past Efren Castro. Must have been maybe a mistake from Castro last time around. His lap was a better part of 2 seconds slower than his previous lap. So he certainly cost him a lot of ground. Joe Lombardo's got back past him again. And now he's got his mirrors full of Kurt Swearingen, that white and green car. But there's battles all the way up and down the field. The race leaders now working their way through some traffic here, and that has enabled Jeff Kingsley to extend his advantage once again over Riley Dickinson in second place.
Swearingen then hoving into view in the mirrors of Efren Castro in the 65 cars. They go to the top of the hill at turn 2, and Castro knows now that he's got a battle on his hands, and he's in the unenviable position of trying to get by the car in front, but still trying to defend as well. Kurt Hunt, by the way, in the ACI Motorsports car, came into the pits, has not left it. He came in at much reduced speed, and as I say that, he has just left the pits and rejoins the track with 18 minutes to go. Charlie Look and TJ Fisher battling for 6th position at the front of the field. The gap is 2 seconds between Kingsley and Dickinson in the platinum class. It's now just 9/10 of a second between Castro and Swearingen in the gold category.
Yeah, this is heating up, isn't it, with just under 18 minutes remaining in this 45-minute race. Here is Efren Castro. He's got back past Joseph Lombardo, so that's great news for Castro. It could be very, very critically, right, John, as we head into the final stages of this race.
Early morning sunshine and blue skies at the Motul Petit Le Mans weekend. The gold category warming up nicely.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
Yeah, it's another super battle between these two. They've been back and forth all the way through this campaign. It's been great to see if, first one has the advantage and then the other. Kurt Swearingen has the advantage on wins at 7-4, but still the advantage is only 13 points heading into the final stretch of the season. So it's very much game on between these two, and if they can stay in this order, and if Efren Castro can sweep the final few races of the season, he can still win this championship.
Yeah, the problem is there's always so much action. Off to a partial street circuit next when the Porsches are on the IndyCar undercard, and well, anything can happen in a street circuit. Only 4 cars in the class this weekend, but of course any kind of stutter by Swearingen, if that can be made an advantage or taken advantage of by Castro, and then they'll finish on the wide open spaces of the Sebring International Raceway in November. Respect the bumps is the hashtag there, and that place has thrown up some odd results down through the years as well. I fancy we may have to have the abacus out by the time we get to Sebring and the final race of the season.
Yeah, that's right. But for this man, Riley Dickinson, he's got it all to do now. He was giving Jeff Kingsley all he could handle in the opening stages of this race, but since the middle part of the race, Kingsley has pulled away. That gap between the two of them now, it's 2.2 seconds. It was a little bit higher than that. Certainly Riley Dickinson seems to have upped his game again. There was a portion about 5 laps ago where he wasn't continuing to pull away from the third place car of Sebastian Carrazzo, who we haven't seen because he's completely on his own. But now he's kind of putting the hammer down a little bit and reducing that deficit just a little bit to the race leader. But it's been another imperious drive by the young Canadian Jeff Kingsley for the Kelly Moss Road and Race team in this children's hospital car.
It looks like he's gaining on the Richard Edge car ahead of him. That is the 18 with the blue chevrons on the front, so a bit of lapped traffic, and unfortunately I don't think Riley Dickinson is close enough to take advantage if there is a bit of a stumble there. I've got some bad news as well. If you've been following Bart Collins, we said he was in the pits earlier on, and both he and Kurt Hunt, the 22 and the 24 cars from respectively MCR Racing and ACI Motorsports, have gone behind the wall. Just a moment or two ago, down through the final corner, a mistake from Castro, off into the dirt at turn 12, picks up the sponsor banner on the left-hand side of the track, and he's done some significant damage to the left front of that 65 car, and more importantly, Jeremy Shaw, he's lost the lead in the gold category. These are the sort of things on which championships can turn. There's radiators behind the front end of that car. There's a little bit of tyre rub there. The Yokohama is giving off a wee bit of smoke, but I'd be worried about if there's been any damage to those radiators. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get that car another 9 minutes to the flag without at least coming in for them to have a look at the damage that's pushing on the tyre.
Yeah, no, I think this is pretty much game over. Yeah, he's lifted right off. You can see, I think he's clearly see the temperatures rising on the dashboard, so he's pulled out that car off the racetrack, and I think that is probably going to be certainly the end of his hopes in this race, and probably the end of his championship hopes as well, unless there's a major drama for Kurt Swearingen. But hats off here to Efren Castro for pulling that car to a safe place and even reversing it completely off the racetrack as well. That's very heads-up driving by the young man originally from the Dominican Republic, nowadays from New Jersey.
Massive respect to him for that, because that's what he's showing to his fellow competitors there. He'll be so annoyed with himself for making that tiny mistake, carried a little bit too much speed and maybe turned in a tiny bit at the wrong time for turn 12, off onto the grass, and Red Georgia Clay picked up one of the sponsor boards just at the wrong angle. They are made of sort of polystyrene material, normally Corex, but it just did enough to the front end of the car to push it back. And what a shame for him, but he's pulled it off in one of the opts that actually leads back to turn 5. If he rolled all the way back down through there, there is an optional part of the circuit. 8 minutes to go, and still at the front of the field, Jeff Kingsley leads by 2.9 seconds, and Jeff also holds the Yokohama fastest lap of the race for the Platinum category. 1 minute 23.0 for him, 0.39. Now, I don't normally go into 3 decimal places, but Riley Dickinson's been close to him with a 23.063. But for the moment, it is still Kingsley with the Yokohama fastest lap in Platinum. In gold, it's Kurt Swearingen who put the 1:25.260 alongside his name to put him at the top of the charts as far as the Yokohama fastest lap is concerned, in when he was chasing down his championship contender Efren Castro and his championship challenger Efren Castro. He's now leading and in 10th overall in the Gold Cup, and that 1:25.260 is the Yokohama fastest gold category lap of the race. Under 7 to go now. 7th position, and the Masters lead is a decent battle as well. Alan Metney has just in fact gone by Charlie Look. What was that, the last time by or the time before? So Alan fighting back from that spin earlier at turn 5. Meantime, the number 48, a little bit further back down the field in 20th position for Kelly Moss Road and Race. David Briley Senior has the leader right in his wheel tracks at the moment. And interesting, even on a car he's putting a lap on, Jeremy, needs Jeff Kingsley has to have cooperation by those cars he's lapping, even though he's clearly quite a bit quicker, because these cars are so close in performance, particularly in a straight line. Jeff Kingsley getting down to the last probably 4 laps maximum in the 3rd race of the weekend at Road Atlanta, the Motul Petit Le Mans weekend, and the Porsche IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama on its 2nd triple header of the 2020 season. 4 races to go when the checkered flag drops on this. And this has been another good weekend for Jeff Kingsley. Meanwhile, by the way, in the Masters category, Alan Metney is absolutely flying. And he's caught right back up again with 6th place TJ Fisher for Top Racing. He's dealt with Charlie Look and left him in his dust, 5 seconds behind. Late race pace from Metney in the 99 car, intent on making up for that mistake at turn 5. 10 laps or so ago now, it seems. So he's found the pace that we haven't seen from him all weekend. And TJ Fisher responding, clearly knows what's coming behind, just half a second or so behind him. He'll see that white-fronted Porsche. TJ's just put his fastest lap of the race in last time around, Jeremy.
He has. Two of the last 3 laps, Fisher has turned his best laps of the race. It was a 24.2 last time. This was a 24.6. But Alan Metney, a 24.3 last time around. He was in the 23s the last time around. That's quicker than the race leaders at this stage in the race. I mean, you know, the Yokohama tyres have been working hard through these 45 minutes. So Alan Metney has really got his head down. He's turning in a super drive to make up for that earlier miscue.
Where's this pace been from Alan, though? This is more like the Alan that we've seen this season, Jeremy, where he's been regularly in the top 4. He has taken a race victory overall as well, but he seemed a little bit off colour this weekend in the first 2 races, and maybe it took that spin to wake him out of whatever he was in, but my goodness, he's been brilliant in the last 10-12 laps or so.
He certainly has. And there is the number 58 car, TJ Fisher. Alan Metni looking to the outside. Is he going to make a move around the outside at turn 10? Wow, he thought about it.
Good driving by TJ, went really deep on the less preferred inside line, should I say, at turn number 10A through 12. But the 99 car's got pace. It's got pace aplenty at the moment, and Alan Metni is ringing every single mile an hour, forcing the youngster to go a tiny little bit defensive into turn 1. And it looks like there's more grip in the 99 car, Jeremy. Alan able to put that car wherever he wants and even come a little bit tighter out of turn 1 that time around, and he lost no real estate at all. There's traffic ahead of them, and that is Kenny Murillo that's just up the road in the 58 car, so that's not too far up the road at all, as Murillo goes past the number 57, putting a lap on Frank Razzo for Top Racing. So it's a trio of Top Racing cars now in front of that iFly machine, 1 a lap down. But my goodness, what a fabulous run this has been by Alan Metni. Not quite the exit from turn 7 he might have wanted.
No, and this pair, TJ Fisher and Alan Metni, they've caught Kelly Murillo. They were about 7 seconds behind him only about 10 laps ago, so they've made short work of him. Actually, was that Kenny Murillo? No, that was that was Frank Razzo pulling out of the way of TJ Fisher. But TJ Fisher and Kenny Murillo, the 2 top racing youngsters, they've had some good coaching this weekend from Zach Robichon, of course, who was a former multi-time winner in this championship, now driving for the FAF Motorsports team in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship this weekend again. And they've learned an awful lot over the last 72 hours, let's say. That's Kenny Murillo and TJ Fisher. Murillo's got a little bit of an advantage now over Fisher, but Fisher has his hands full here to keep ahead of Alan Metni. Fisher, this is his debut weekend in the Porsche GT3 Cup challenged by Yokohama, but he's got a lot of experience in a lot of different cars. He was making his way up the open wheel ladder for several years, and before, there's a problem for Metni, but he's made a good first weekend in the Porsches.
Yeah, Metni, what happened there? See if we can find out for you. Coming through this time will be the white flag, so 2.5 miles for Jeff Kingsley and a 5-second lead. That's a huge lead under the circumstances to Riley Dickinson. Metni with the 4-way flashes on at turn number 6, and well, his charge has come to a premature end. That is an unhappy Porsche. Didn't sound like it was running all that well. So Alan will be very disappointed after charging through. Charlie Luck's gone through and will make it a clean sweep in the Masters category this weekend. Meantime, at the front of the field, the number 16, Kelly Moss Road and Race Porsche for Jeff Kingsley. 2 wins and a second. Excellent points haul this weekend, and he will pull out another 3 points to give himself a cushion going into the final 4 races of the year. Just 3 corners really for him to negotiate now. Found the pace when he needed it in the second race on Friday, made the pass early at turn 3 on lap 1 to take his first victory of the weekend, having been second in the first event, and now makes it that second win. 2 from 3 plus a second. Yeah, that's a pretty good weekend for Jeff Kingsley. Dickinson 2 seconds this weekend and a race win, and Swearingen comes through to win the Gold Cup for ACI after tiny error by Efren Castro, and he will not take the checkered flag. So that's another good points haul for Swearingen.
at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, Brazelton, Georgia, and the second triple header weekend is in the books for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Let's go to victory lane and hear from Jeff Kingsley.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was 3, but you can't win them all, right? So definitely happy to get 2 or 3, and I owe this to the team. I just keep driving and driving each weekend, but ultimately the team is what's giving me the package. So Children's Hospital of Alabama car, Medical Properties Trust car, Kelly Moss Road and Race, they're doing an excellent job. My mechanic DJ, engineer Chill, they're unstoppable, so I can't thank them enough.
Jeff Kingsley wins it by 5.5 seconds from Riley Dickinson with Sebastian Carrazzo. I promise you, he did come home in third. He had a quiet race, some 11 seconds behind the leading pair, but 5 seconds ahead of Sean McAllister for JDX in fourth. As far as the gold category, it's Swearingen who takes it with a very creditable 9th position overall from Richard Edge in 2nd position. That's your Porsche unofficial results from race 3 at Road Atlanta.
Well, yeah, when you start out with no qualifying times, it gets really tough. In every race, you got to set a lap time. Efren got me yesterday in race 2 on lap time and got ahead of me today and put a couple of platinum cars between us, and I had to work hard to get back to him, and we got to him. We kept pressure on. It was a clean race. Efren did a great job once I got to him of just keeping in front of me, but then he made a slight mistake, and it was over for us. So we were glad to get the win. ACI put together a great car. I would have never been able to chase him down and get to him to make him make a mistake. So we're happy to get the wins, the 2 wins this weekend, extend our points lead.
Ladies and gentlemen,
so all good.
Welcome to Victory Lane.
Jeff Kingsley has pulled out another handy little lead in the championship, extended it a tiny bit.
Yeah, indeed so. And, he was under intense pressure for the first dozen laps, but after that, Riley Dickinson just fell away at a rapid rate. 408 points, I reckon, now for Jeff Kingsley to the 383 of Riley Dickinson. So a pretty handy 25-point lead heading in to the final 4 races of the season. In Gold Cup, Kurt Swearingen also extends his championship lead now to 20 points over Efren Castro.
Next up for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA presented by Yokohama, it's the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida during the IndyCar Championship weekend, and you can see it here on NBCSN. The Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama have put on a great show for the 2nd time at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta this year. Congratulations to Jeff Kingsley and all the team from Kelly Moss Road and Race, winning 2 of the 3 races, as well as ACI Motorsports Gold Class leader Kurt Swearingen. He took 2 out of 3 races run this weekend as well. NBC Sports, your exclusive home for IMSA sports car racing. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.